Hey there, all you queens and cryptids, and welcome to Queer and Loathing, the only podcast that's not mad, just disappointed. I'm your host, Brett Bodie, and with me, as always, are my co-hosts.
I'm Mel.
I'm Samantha.
And gang, what are we talking about today?
Lisa Frankenstein.
That's right. So this is a new release. That was this year.
It came out this
Yes.
year, and I don't think anyone except maybe you saw it in theaters.
Yeah,
But we're covering it now because it hath come to streaming.
it hath. Verily.
Indeed. So we kind of wanted to do, I don't know why, but I get in these little moods, but I wanted to do like 2 zombie movies in a row. And we were going to cover 28 Days Later, which we will eventually cover, but it's one of those movies that's just like lost to time.
It is. It's very hard to find.
Which is shocking to me because I feel like it's not exactly an unknown movie.
No.
Right.
Like, it was a big movie with a big celebrity in it that I think, like, everybody saw, at least everybody who's into, like, horror movies.
Yeah.
I saw it.
And non.
I think I own the DVD.
Well, I wanted to own it, but, I mean, I guess I could go to, like, half-price books and find, like, a potato version DVD from
Yes.
2003 or something. But yeah, they made a sequel. They're making a threequel right
Yeah.
now. So I'm sure, as Brett said, you said that you're assuming they're going to re-release it before the new one. But I was just so shocked. This is why, everybody, you got to buy physical media if you want to see things, because sometimes it's nowhere.
That's true. There have been movies like Drop Dead Gorgeous, one of my favorite comedies, very hard to find. Like, if you don't have the DVD, like, there's a time where you couldn't even, like, rent it or buy it on Amazon. Like, it just is not available anywhere online. You can't find it.
Rent 28 Days Later, because I rent a lot of movies on Amazon, and I was shocked and disappointed to
Wow.
bring it back.
You were mad and you were
I was mad. I was
disappointed.
disappointed. I
But
went
that
through.
didn't speak for the pod at large.
Right.
No, I went through all my stages of grief, but I'm still in denial because I do think we'll still cover it. So I was like, whatever. There's another zombie movie.
Yeah.
What's life without hope?
And what's 28 Days Later but a movie about hope? So
Yep, that famously feel-good movie where everyone dies.
okay, so Lisa Frankenstein.
Yes, most notable, at least for me, the reason I was anticipating it is because the screenplay is by Diablo Cody, who is, of course, most known for writing the screenplay for Juno, which was a huge movie that I love. She also wrote Jennifer's Body,
Which I love.
which I also love.
Sam, have you not seen it still?
Oh, I was going to wait to talk about this part. I've not seen Jennifer's Body yet, and I almost watched it right after this movie. So I think I'll be seeing it within the next week.
You should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Highly recommended. Jennifer's Body, that is. Yeah, so I was looking forward to seeing this movie in theaters. And then I did.
I know you're not saying this is one you would highly recommend. Is that not what you're saying?
That's correct. Directed by Zelda Williams,
Mhm.
daughter of Robin Williams, in her
Oh.
directorial debut. And I can tell. Shots fired right out the gate.
I would say I'm getting the vibe you didn't love this movie, which I actually knew because I saw your sort of long, not scathing, but again, I think your opener is very poignant for this episode, where it didn't seem like you were mad, it seemed like you were disappointed.
That's exactly what it was.
And so after seeing your review of it, and honestly, I watched the trailers, and I was
Mhm.
like, oh, this is not for me.
See, and the trailers made it look like it was so for me.
Like, I thought it was going to just be, like, too cringe, trying too hard, and you know what? It was. But it went so far for me. So, like, I had not seen it because of your review.
Uh-huh.
And then when it came to streaming, I was like, oh, I'll hate watch this. And then I actually liked it. But I have a feeling I'm going to agree with everything you have to say.
Okay, I mean, that's how it goes sometimes.
I went all the way through to the point where I was, like, euphoric. Because I was like, wow, this is not working on levels that are exciting for me.
Ooh, all right.
So I liked it.
Okay, cool.
Sam?
So I was fully planning to watch this in theaters because I'd heard Diablo Cody interviewed, and I was like, oh, okay, it sounds fun. And then I heard what Brett thought about it. And I said, oh, I guess I won't watch it. And so I kind of just left my mind forever until I was told we'd be watching it for this. And I was expecting to hate it, and I fucking loved it.
I knew,
Oh, good,
I knew
okay.
you'd love
It was like exactly the
Good.
shit I wanted,
Mhm.
and I was expecting it. And I will say, I'm also fully sure I'm going to agree with you on several of your points, Brett, because I could see it too.
It has problems.
There were a
Yeah.
few times I had to. I never rewind, but I had to rewind a few times to be like, I didn't get the transition here.
Did it bring you clarity when you went back?
No.
I'm glad you asked. It did not.
Did not. But I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
And I just like, I'm just gonna have a good time.
That's kind of
Good.
how I felt.
Right.
I thought it was really fun,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's I'm not surprised that you liked it a lot. I was surprised that I liked it.
Mhm.
But unfortunately, I feel like the movie was trying to be made for Brett.
Yeah, maybe that's the issue. Well, and I think also I'm a victim of my own like expectations and hype because I was so excited for the movie. I should like it more, and that's I think why I'm like almost mad. Almost mad, but still just disappointed.
I definitely was like, this is not cinematic genius. Like, I was like, I'm just gonna take this for what this is. And the message I got was just have some fucking fun. I mean, also murder, which I'm not taking to heart.
Okay, well,
Maybe.
see, that's the part that I am taking to heart. I'm pro-murder. Let me come out and say it. Well, I'm very glad that you guys both enjoyed it, and hopefully
you.
some of that rubs off on me.
Well, no, the thing is like I knew you didn't like it, and it's one of the reasons why I wanted to cover it because I don't want people to think that this is a podcast where we just like everything. You know,
Right,
Right,
too.
it's definitely not.
it's not true. I think we've
It
gotten
largely has been because we've covered a lot of good movies.
There's just been a lot of really good movies this year, in my opinion. Like we've been eating really well in the
Oh,
horror
so
community.
well.
In general, I would say like the past 10 years have just been, well, maybe that's too far, but maybe the
But
past
pretty
7
close,
years
yeah.
have been like really good eating. And, you know, I felt like we should just highlight something that missed the mark, but not in a way that's like miserable.
No, and the movie is definitely worth watching. Like, I don't regret watching it, even though I didn't really like it.
Yeah, but it's not like Exorcist Believer or Night Swim.
Right, which, like, don't watch
or-
Exorcist Believer.
The Deliverance.
Oh, did you watch it?
I did.
I did too. That's
Sam,
how
have
I
you
get
watched
Sam to
this
watch
No, not yet. Is that the one with Glenn Close?
It
it. Yeah,
is.
where she's Hoochie
I'm-
Grandma.
I've heard about it from several podcasts. Most of them.
Check it out. It's worse than you'd think.
It's shocking.
So
Yeah,
she's-
it's
So
really-
what I'm hearing is she's not going to win an Oscar for this.
You know, she was great in it.
She wasn't the problem.
She wasn't the problem. There was a lot of problems with
Okay.
it, and one of it being that it was like 2 hours long.
Yes.
But no, so there's been some like really slog type bad movies. This is not a slog.
No.
This is
No.
fast paced to a breakneck speed point where it's
Yeah.
got issues with the pacing going a little too fast at times where, as you said, Sam, you just kind of get whiplash where you're like, oh, surely at some point they mentioned why she's doing this. But no, there's no explanation. So there's been some movies this year where they are miserable bad watches. This is like a fun
Mhm.
kind of bad movie, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
And I have ideas that I'll
Okay,
brainstorm with y'all later
I have some as well, like how to fix
on
it.
how to fix
Yeah.
it. I was gonna say that's our secret section that I didn't put on our agenda today, where I want a let's fix this movie because I think it is extremely fixable.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I definitely agree.
Okay, so the plot of this movie, interestingly enough, while this is called Lisa Frankenstein, it's kind of more of a zombie movie. There's Frankenstein type elements.
Yeah,
She puts him in a tanning bed a lot, which I thought was kind of cute.
I also think that's cute.
But essentially it's like a high school girl
Whose mother was murdered 2 years ago.
by an
Yeah.
axe murderer, which is such an odd
Supposedly.
A random axe murderer who apparently was never caught either. He's just out there somewhere.
And
Does he
never-
factor into the plot?
No,
He sure does not.
he never comes back at all.
I was waiting for them to say it's her.
Oh, that
Mm.
would have been
Well,
fun.
they mentioned it. Somebody was like, oh, there's a rumor that she killed her mom.
They should have done that.
Right.
Because she was fine killing her sister's mom.
Right. She was fine killing a lot of people. So That's how I would have tied it up. Sorry, that's my fix, my early fix.
So your
Yeah.
fix is that she's just been the killer all along.
Yeah.
I think that would have worked.
That would have worked.
That's not one of the pathways I saw to making this
neither.
work, but I do think that would actually make more sense if the big reveal at the end is that she's just like a serial killer.
Yeah.
She
Hello.
is, basically.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So she is like so she's in her feelings since her mother was murdered. So she loves to hang out in this cemetery by her house and do grave rubbings. And she especially loves
Sorry.
this one grave of this guy. What's his name?
Guy.
Guy.
Creature.
They call him the Creature. We don't know his name in life.
Can you explain what grave rubbings are? I know what they are, but just
Yeah, it's where you take out your dick and you
No.
rub it on a grave.
is this a thing?
It is a thing.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. So
It's a weird thing, but it is a thing. So it's like you put a piece of paper over like the engraving on a gravestone, and then you like use
Charcoal
charcoal
or
or like a crayon
whatever.
or something to rub on it, and then you can see the inscription like on a piece of paper and have it in your house, I guess.
Hang
I
it
don't know.
up.
But
It
her room
could.
wasn't even covered with those.
No,
was
it wasn't.
She had a few. She had his because he pointed at it.
Yes,
Okay.
you're right. You're right. She had his on the wall.
That's how he identified himself.
Yeah, so she's
Yes.
just into his. And we do get at the beginning, I think, a pretty cute credit sequence where we get his backstory, which is he was like a pianist, he fell in love with a lady, they had a little thing, and then she got interested in someone else, and then he died. They've moved to a new town, or at least she's moved. Her dad is remarried to amazing
Carla Gugino.
Carla Gugino, who is, she knows what she's in.
That's my note as well. I'm like, she really is perfectly capturing the tone that I think the movie should have had a little more consistently.
Every once in a while, you get a bad movie where there is one incredible actor in it who knows they're in a bad movie, and instead of phoning it in and not trying, I wouldn't say anyone in this was phoning it in.
No, I actually thought everyone was pretty good.
But sometimes you get the actor in it who just goes balls to the wall crazy with their performance.
She's having fun.
And she did it.
oh,
and
it's so fun to watch. I do love her in this movie.
I get why Mike Flanagan likes her so much and casts her so often because
Oh,
she's
yeah.
so good in it. She was so good in The Fall of the House of Usher as well. Like
Playing
she's,
like 7 different roles or whatever it was.
she's great. But so she's like the evil stepmother, sort of like Nurse Ratched, sort of all like
Mhm.
rolled into one sort of
Yeah.
insane like mom, like 80s mom,
80s homemaker mom,
but
But
she
also,
But she also-
works.
oh, yeah.
Is a
Work.
nurse.
but she loves her like, I don't know, porcelain, whatever. Like she does work, but she's still like homemaker mom archetype.
yeah.
Yeah, she works for a mental hospital. She's like, Lisa, I'm going to send you to the loony bin. Her daughter goes, Mom, you work in a mental hospital.
Like you shouldn't call it that.
Yeah.
But I also believe that people who worked in mental hospitals in the 80s might have just called them loony bins.
Yeah.
And then her stepsister is like popular cheerleader girl. And it's kind of interesting how this whole family is portrayed because like the mom is so over the top and like crazy mean to her.
Yes.
The dad is extremely passive.
He's playing the same character that he plays in Stranger Things, right?
Is
He's
that
like,
the same dad?
I think so. He's like neglectful dad,
It just
He's really good at it.
neglectful, tuned out dad in Stranger Things and also this.
And I've seen every single season of that and don't remember him because he's so Wallflower-esque. And then I thought a really good performance was the stepsister. And I really like that character.
I really like the character.
So
becau-
mean, but so caring.
What's
Well,
it? Yeah.
It
It's
was-
it's
I
like a
loved it.
subversion of the sort of mean cheerleader archetype because
Yeah.
she says like blunt, kind of rude or mean things, but she says it from a place of like she's actually really nice and sweet. But she'll
It's
be like,
supportive.
yeah, but she's like, she walks into the bathroom when they're getting ready to go to a party, and she's like, "Oh, Lisa, I don't think that blush is your color."
Yeah.
But she's not trying to be mean. She's
She's
trying to
not
be
wrong.
helpful. She's trying. Yeah, she's trying to
Lisa's
like.
makeup looks terrible in that opening scene.
Yeah.
Her lipstick isn't even on right. And so
No.
it's like, so you're getting this sort of opening scene where they're getting ready together. Clearly, they don't hate each other. But yes, you see the sort of establishing of the more popular, blunt stepsister who's like the same age-ish.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They're this. Yeah, they seem
I
to be
think
the
they
same
are.
year or close.
I think so.
And I'll tell another one of my fixes right now, because this
Okay.
is one way you could fix this movie. So this movie reminded me of a lot of better movies. One of those is Jennifer's Body.
Yep, I think we might have the same fix.
And then another one of those is Ginger Snaps.
Mm-hmm.
Giving a
Agreed.
little
I had
shout
my
out.
Ginger Snaps homage the whole time, and I was very happy.
It's very, very similar to both of those.
Yeah.
And one of the things that makes the characters in both of those movies work is you have a codependent relationship between two girls, one of which is sort of the leader who pushes around the less popular, less sort of like performatively pretty girl. But one fix could have been maybe to establish maybe the stepsister helped her a lot when she was grieving, and maybe coming to the new school, she's hanging around her. And maybe you make the stepsister like a little bit meaner, but not like archetypal mean girl. I think that could have fixed it. But I think the reason they didn't do it is because then it's just Jennifer's Body again.
Yeah. See, for me, I think my fix would have been like change the portrayal of the sister character a bit more, but make her the protagonist.
Oh, that would have been
and
fun.
And you see Lisa through her eyes. And that way it's almost like, I never fully understood Lisa, and this is the story I'm telling about my weird stepsister.
That would have fixed it,
who's
too.
now missing.
I want to see it.
Like, and I'm like, that alone, well, because I think my main issue with the movie, which I noticed more on a rewatch, is I'm like, Lisa as a character fucking sucks.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why she does a single thing she does. And I don't know if she like how angry she is, how hurt she is, I just don't get a sense of any of her emotions. But she's supposed to be the protagonist who we're seeing through.
She's our POV character.
If she wasn't our POV character, that wouldn't even be an issue.
But having it be from the more dominant one would have been more interesting because that hasn't been done, at least not that I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
Because in Jennifer's Body and in Ginger Snaps, the weirder sort of codependent,
like
submissive,
meeker,
meeker is a good word, is the one who's seeing the more confident, sort of sexy, like one that goes batshit. So you could have subverted it in an interesting way to see the meeker one go crazy and then her being like, oh, I was so self-absorbed. I didn't even notice that she had a disgusting, stinky dead person in her bedroom.
Yeah.
No one notices.
So I do agree, and I am already daydreaming about this new movie. But I also find it fun seeing the one who's going batshit. I don't know, it was kind of fun because I don't know, it's just like you don't know what she's going to do. I think if you're not taking it seriously, you can just lean into the fun. But if you're like, well, what am I actually getting out of this?
Yeah.
Then you would want it flipped.
Well, it felt like to me it also walked the wrong balance of like, is it campy and over the top, or is it more grounded and somewhat like, how seriously are we supposed to take anyone's emotional pain?
Right.
In this
Oh,
movie?
not at all. Except for the stepsister.
But it feels
at
like
the
we're
end.
kind of supposed to, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, well, the worst thing that happens is Lisa directly causes so much trauma to be heaped on her sister.
Oh, yeah.
And like doesn't care.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't
really.
even...
I mean, she gives the most half-assed apology you've ever seen in your life at the end. And I'm like, she's been nothing but nice to you, and like
You killed her mom.
You killed her mom, and then her hookup while you were naked in bed together.
Yeah.
After having a very heartfelt, intimate conversation too, not just having sex, but they were in a very emotional state where she opened up with him, and then bye.
Lisa seems sort of quiet, insecure. She has a crush on this guy who's like the hunky editor-in-chief. It's very funny.
Yeah, the editor of the Lit Mag, they say.
Yes, the Lit Mag at the school. She likes sensitive guys. The sister's like, oh, why would you be interested in him? It's like, well, he's like objectively hunky, but...
He is very hot. But also that's maybe one of the funniest lines for me. Lisa's talking about her crush on him in the car to Taffy, who's her stepsister. And Lisa's like, no, he doesn't play any sports. He's cerebral. And Taffy goes, he's in a wheelchair?
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Yeah, Taffy's pretty stupid, and I think her character was acted and written pretty well.
Yeah. Well, I liked a lot of the screenplay. I feel like a lot of the screenplay fixes, like, there's some pretty basic stuff, like one or two more revisions would have made it, great. Because, I mean, it's Diablo Cody. She can write some really funny dialogue, and, like, she can write a female friendship.
I have a feeling that if I read the original screenplay, it would have better.
Yeah.
It would be better.
It would have better.
It would have better.
When I thought also, I generally like Catherine Newton, who plays Lisa.
I like her.
but I really didn't like her in this movie, and I didn't get her performance, and I don't think it's a her issue. I think it's a directing issue.
I liked her performance, but it wasn't my favorite of her performances.
I don't know why, it just like did not connect with me at all.
She was annoying.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she's...
Yeah, I just said the whole time being like, fuck you, Lisa. I hate you. And not even in a fun way of like, you're so bad and evil. I'm like, fuck off.
Yeah, she was cringe. But she gets dragged in the beginning of the movie. I think some of this could have, again, another fix is you could have had this party later.
Yeah, that would
after you've established the relationship more. But she goes to the party.
You need to see them have an average day at school before they go to the party.
Or you get the dynamics first.
Yes.
The first thing we see is them go to this party. And there's, I guess, just a high school party, and they're drinking Lord knows what.
Yeah, there is beer, but then, so Lisa finally meets her crush. He's there, and he knows who she is because he's, published some of her poems. And then this girl comes up to him, his friend or whatever, and just oh, I've got this drink, but, I bet Lisa here is too chicken shit to drink it. And Lisa's oh, I'll have a sip, and then she downs the whole thing, and it's, PCP or something.
Well, it's another one of those things where it's what drug is this? What is this?
I don't really know how PCP works, but I don't think that's how it does.
I don't think any drug is quite that, but...
Well, it was did she get roofied?
And
or was it acid, or...
I think it was supposed to be acid. But again, as we talked about in our Midsommar episode, no one on this podcast has ever touched a drug in our life. So she's wandering off feeling immediately
Yeah, the effects hit her
immediately.
And I will say Taffy, her sister, immediately clocks it.
Yeah.
Goes over, is Lisa, are you okay? And then when Lisa's yeah, I'm fine, Taffy goes to confront the girl who gave her the drug and is yelling at her. And I'm that's great. That's very just good kind of friend behavior. Yeah.
And what happens in the movie...
Yeah, Taffy deserved much better.
Taffy deserved a lot better in this movie. Or they should have made her worse to make her deserve the worst. So this is another way this could have been fixed. Is have this be later in the movie after we've already established their relationship. She gets sexually... In the real movie, Lisa gets sexually assaulted by her dorky lab partner.
Yeah, while she's drugged up. He's oh, I'll take care of you.
I saw it coming from a mile away, but I think that's just because any drunk girl at a party has had similar experiences. So she gets taken upstairs, secluded. He starts getting handsy. And that is the, catalyst for her, running off. And then I guess she wishes upon a star. It's unclear what the magic is.
She just is at the grave and she just looks at him and she goes, I wish I was with you.
But she means that she wishes she was dead.
And I don't buy that at all.
I didn't read it that way at all.
Because I'm if you'd seen her be catatonically depressed, or she's at least just sobbing and just is so upset leaving the party, that'd be one thing. But she's just kind of stumbling around and is stops by the graveyard. Wish I was with you. All right, going home.
Also, all we've seen so far from her, literally at this point in the movie, is that she has a crush on a boy.
And she's bad at makeup.
She has a crush on a boy, and then another boy sexually assaults her. So, to me, I'm reading it as, and this is my another fix for this movie. She goes to the grave and is I wish I could be with you. Grave gets struck by lightning. Zombie comes back. And then we have sort of shenanigans throughout the movie where she and the zombie become BFFs, but she's friend zoning him. And then in the end, I guess they realize they're in love and it's happily ever after.
But I will say, I did like that it wasn't an instant oh, it was you. I am in love with you. I did like that it was over their murder spree.
They go on a murder
over
spree.
Time. She realizes she doesn't like this lit guy, whatever.
Well, she only doesn't like him because she catches him in bed with the stepsister.
It's her zombie friend all along.
Yeah. And so a way this movie could have been, again, in my opinion, fixed, because I don't think doing the codependent thing would have been good because it's been done by movies that are very similar to this, but better. I think what this could have been is a movie about, making yourself different for a man. And, if this, because there are times in this where she's, trying to be what she thinks is cool for her crush, which I think is, pretty relatable as like a high school experience. But then she has the opportunity to make a man what she wants. But that's not really where this goes, right? Because, you know, they do like a cute little like, oh, he's dressing up and things. But really,
they do the 80s like outfit montage, which is cute. Don't get me wrong. I always love that.
But like, it doesn't lean into it in the sense that it's not like Frankenhooker or something where, you know, she's,
okay.
Oh, we'll cover it on the pod. But like,
I'm sure you've seen me wearing my t-shirt.
Yes. Okay.
I have Frankenhooker shorts. I sometimes wear. But like in that one, you know, he's like crafting a hot babe for himself, right? And if she had been like, oh, I'm going to give you these qualities that I want and make you the guy I want, like there could have been sort of like something more to say.
Yeah, that would have been good actually.
Right? Where it's like, you know, because she has this pretty extreme shift at one point in the movie where she goes from sort of quiet and awkward to like doing her like walk through the hallways, ginger snap.
Yeah, she gets a ginger snap style
Jennifer's
hallway
body,
walk.
freaky,
Yeah.
like we've seen
Love the
it.
moment.
Where you're walking through the hallway, having your girl boss moment. She's in her like, you
her,
know,
her goth blossom outfit.
Yes.
Did you clock that? She's got
Yes.
it's like a black blossom hat. And I was like, gothsome? Blossom.
and she doesn't even really explain why she's leaning into it because she's like, oh, these are like, because the zombie like tells her to wear these
He
clothes.
like makes her wear the dress because he throws it at her and then like keeps the closet door shut so she can't get to any more of her clothes.
Yeah.
So she like has to wear that.
But then she just starts wearing those clothes that she calls like slutty over and over again, which again, I didn't like love that. But I think again, like if this had been just little changes in the script and like how things go down, this could have been a movie about like loving yourself for who you are, or even just like a fun sort of romp where it's like she was so busy trying to make herself someone different for this guy while she was making this other guy this thing she wanted.
Yeah, and finally she realized, oh, that's what I did. I actually built my own dream man, and like I don't need to change for him, but it's morally complicated because she did to the zombie what she was doing to herself. Like she changed him to meet her standards type of thing.
Exactly.
That would have been good.
It would have been something.
Yeah.
Well, just now hearing you talk about build a man, I was kind of thinking another way I would think would be an interesting way to do this movie would be more of her like maybe recovering after the loss of her mom. And because with the creature, she's like, she gives him an ear and then the ear is attached and like maybe he's listening. You know, she gives him a hand so he can then play music, and not for this, but he gets a hand. He's requesting these body parts, and so he's able to do more for her and other things too when he has the hand. And then he gets his penis, so he's able to meet another criteria for her, but it's like within the realm of her safety of these things. So it's like not happening before she has control. She's the one who sews on his ear. She sews on his hand. She sews on his dick. Like, there's a control element there that I think could have been interesting in a different movie.
Well, again,
Yeah.
like,
But I really kind of like that concept.
I see what you're saying.
and that's called a theme that, you know, this movie doesn't, it dances around a lot of them because I like that too. Because like, again, one of the first things we see happen to her is she gets drugged and assaulted at a party. And we have this flashback where her mother's being axe murdered and all she could do is hide. And she has no control over her life. She's been taken from her high school where presumably she was normal and had friends. And now she's this weird outcast girl that everyone gossips about. So yeah, I think that's another pathway this movie could have taken, is really leaning in. And I don't believe that you need to explain clearly in a movie what your themes are and what your point is. Like, you don't need to like turn to the camera and say,
I don't want that.
Finally, I have control over something in my life.
Yeah.
But like, you can at least paint the picture for us to be able to pick up.
And my take on that is that a lot of these things we're mentioning are present in the script, at least enough, where a more skilled director could have made it more explicit without the script needing to go into more detail. But just like, I don't know, I just thought the direction of this movie was so bad. Like, all the shots are, like, everything's so lifeless. The scenes are paced poorly. That there's no interesting shot composition at all. Basically, everything is, like, cut away from too quickly. Like, her hallway walk in her goth blossom outfit should have been so cool, like all the other ones we mentioned. And instead it's just like a 1-second shot of her in the hall, and then it's a different angle, and then it's people kind of reacting. And I was
Yeah.
like, this should have been like, she's walking dead at the camera, like down the hallway like they do in Ginger Snaps. That's how you do that shot.
Or you have it go on too long and be over the top to the point where it's like
Like, and heads
laughing,
keep turning, and yeah.
where she thinks that's her moment and everyone else is like, the fuck?
Yeah, that would have been
Like
that
there's
would've
so
been funny.
much, like,
Yeah.
but you're right. Like there's the green.
It's a directing issue.
The greenness of the director does show through. And one of the notes I have here, and it's something that I found really charming about this movie, is that you could tell while they were making this movie that the director thought she was making an instant cult classic, Ginger Snaps, Jennifer's Body, and she's trying so hard to do that without understanding the pieces that make those movies have longevity, right? Like what makes Heather's great, what makes Ginger Snaps great, what makes Jennifer's Body great are that they have things to say, they're fun, they're dynamic. And this movie has kind of like the sloppy veneer of those other movies. Like I still thought about those movies, but I was like, oh, this reminds me of these like really good movies.
That was probably part of what I was annoyed by too, because I'm like, I've seen several much better versions of this. And if, like, I wouldn't turn on Lisa Frankenstein, because why would I? Because I could watch Ginger Snaps or Jennifer's Body or Heather's, which I love all of those movies.
And those aren't even the only movies that sort of like follow this sort of like high school camp, surreal horror kind of thing. Those are probably just the best ones.
Yeah.
But you can't just make a cult classic.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, it's sort of a democracy thing. Like the people have to choose it.
Right, you can't just declare it.
But to me, this felt like a declaration.
It did. It was like, I'm announcing, like, this is my big debut, and I made an amazing cult classic right out of the gate with my first feature. And it's like, you didn't.
And there's something about that hubris that I just found so funny and charming. Like, and I do think there are, like, things I did like about this movie that were fun.
Yep.
Again, I don't think this is, like, a terrible watch.
No, and it's not like I was sitting there, like, not laughing. I did laugh at various moments.
And it's not sloppy in ways that, like, I don't know, like Madam Web or some other movies where it's not like, oh, the ADR isn't matching with their head.
Technically it's, like, totally fine.
It's competent,
it's very
in
competent
certain ways, but you can tell when you look at it that it doesn't have the sauce. Ad break?
Yeah.
On that note?
This episode is brought to you by balloons. Such a versatile product. You can go up in a hot air balloon. You can fill a balloon with water and throw it at your sibling. You could blow up a condom and bop it around. I mean, they're for birthdays. They're right for any occasion. Bring balloons to a funeral. See what happens. See how it feels. Tie them to a grave. I don't know. Go wild. Use offer code FILLMEUP, I'm a balloon, for 20% off of the concept of a balloon.
I do think that's like a weird kink for people, isn't it?
Oh, it is. Oh, I didn't even think about that. Yes,
Yeah.
you can sit on them until they pop and get off, as some people do, I think.
I can't believe this would be your ad when you know I've been listening to it.
Oh, yeah.
You've been listening to it?
See, balloons,
Like 9 hours
they're
in.
not just fun. They can also have a sense of menace.
Find a creepy clown near you.
Yep.
And
throw a
fill
water
up-
balloon at them and then send them up in a hot air balloon.
throw a condom
Yes,
filled
a
with
condom filled with the pee.
something. Pee.
Oh, no. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
When I was in college, I was in a sorority, and we would do these like derby days where we would all like do competitions for the attention of the frat boys. Very healthy, good stuff. And while we were playing like flag football, they would throw water balloons filled with milk.
The guys would?
Yeah, like at us. Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
Sam
hate
just
it.
glowered at me. Oh, I hated it.
Yeah, that's horrible.
I wish a Lisa Frankenstein upon all fraternity
Yes.
boys.
Yes.
That would have been another fix to this movie, is make it take place in college and have it like be a fraternity sorority thing. But yeah, balloons. Don't fill them with milk and throw them at girls
I agree.
or anybody.
Yeah. All right, well,
Thanks.
on that note.
Thanks, balloons.
Yeah, thanks, balloons. We'll see you after the break. I almost said we'll see you after the balloon.
See you after the balloon.
I'm stupid. Welcome back, everyone. Hope you enjoyed spending your break not filling balloons with milk, nor throwing them at sorority girls.
Yeah, don't do it.
Yeah, we advise against it.
They may not act like people, but they are people.
They are technically people, unlike the characters in Lisa Frankenstein.
Well, there are characters in this movie who do act like people, just not the titular character.
Are there?
Yeah, I think
The crush kind of does. The sister kind of.
I will say the crush did nothing wrong.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I don't think he did anything wrong.
Nothing
He was
wrong.
nice to Lisa, but not in a way where he was like super flirty. He was literally just like talking to her politely at a party.
Well, and when he talks to her like in class and by the lockers, he's like kind of flirty, but like, sorry.
You're allowed to be flirty with people that...
Another thing that this movie could have talked about and didn't and had something to say about is like, you don't own your crush.
Yes.
Right.
You don't own them. They're a human being. It's never established that he is dating the goth chick that he's friends with.
Right.
Nope.
It's never established that cheerleader's stepsister is dating anyone. Now, she did know that her stepsister had a crush on him, so she should not have gone for that guy. But
I can forgive her
It's
for that. I agree with
complicated.
you. Like, yeah, and especially when she like kind of gave her reasons, I was like, well, I mean, she violated girl code, but I still can't condemn Taffy for sleeping with him.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. I'm
Girl-
like,
Girl code doesn't trump everything.
yes.
Don't.
it doesn't
And,
trump
like-
horniness all the time.
Right. Well, and, that's true. And like,
Sometimes you're just a high school girl.
when Taffy has like been nothing but nice to Lisa in like every way, like this is the one transgression against her. And like, at this point, Lisa's already like been complicit in her mother's murder and then cut off her ear and sewed it onto a zombie.
True.
And then used her tanning bed without permission. Because
Multiple
the tanning
times.
bed is how the dead tissue is regenerated.
Taffy has a tanning bed in a shed.
Yes, that doesn't work because it electrocutes you instead of tanning you. But she won it as a pageant prize. What did she say? She was like, when I was Miss Teen Virgin Islands, it wasn't that. I don't know
They
what
won
it was.
all sorts of things.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But
I liked that part.
I think it was
liked that it
cute.
was the tanning bed and
well, it's like never established that Lisa is like a science person. So I was like, how are they going to do it? And then it does establish one moment in the movie where she works at like a tailor dry cleaner. And so it's like, oh, and
She
she
can
like
sew.
and she sews her own clothes sometimes.
Mhm.
And she was
Um,
electrocuted by the tanning bed
And
first.
so
So,
there are
she
some things.
knew.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I'm like, I didn't think the screenplay was the biggest issue. There are things that could have been fixed, but screenplay was pretty solid.
But yeah, like I thought I actually liked that.
I was relieved. I was like, okay, that's easy.
What?
It's the tanning bed. Cool. I'll just go with
Oh,
it.
I don't
was
need
like,
to
okay.
do science.
Yeah, like let's just cool, easy.
Yeah, I
Yep.
think. Well, I just also think it's like a fun sort of fresh take
Mhm.
on the whole Frankenstein sort of like modernization type thing. But yeah, the crush guy did nothing
I
wrong.
agree.
Well, also, none of them deserve to die. Like none of them.
Yeah, even like, I mean, the
Even
closest
the
probably
molester guy.
Yeah, I was gonna say the lab partner
Yeah.
who had handsy at the party.
Well, the mom was
Definitely
trying
came
to
close.
lock her up.
That's true.
The
The mom was
mom-
trying to institutionalize her, but you know what? I think Lisa should have been institutionalized.
Yeah.
Not for the
Correct.
reasons that the stepmom wanted to, but she should have.
You wanted to Minority Reporter her, where you just like
Yes.
lock her up before she can hurt anybody.
Free crime.
You wanted to precog her.
I did.
Yeah, she's nuts in this. But you know, so the first kill, she doesn't do it. The creature does. And I think the creature kind of has an interesting arc in this. He's a more
also,
interesting character, I think.
I agree. Well, and so the creature, played by Cole Sprouse,
Mhm.
one of the Sprouse twins from The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody,
Oh God, I had no idea.
which I've never watched, but I'm aware
And-
of it.
Riverdale.
And Riverdale, which I've also never watched. So I've never seen Cole Sprouse in anything except this. And I gotta say, I thought he was excellent.
Yeah, that was
I
great.
thought
He did a great job.
I thought he did a fantastic job as the creature.
Can I put something in here that is going to annoy you so you'll cut it?
Yes.
I watched one episode of Riverdale and I stopped watching it because the teacher was a You seem like someone who would have watched The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody.
That's the meanest thing you've ever said on this podcast.
I thought you were going to say Riverdale.
Well, that too. Didn't you say you were like a Disney bitch?
Yeah, but I was too old by that point.
When did it come
I
out?
did grow out. I think like when we were in high school.
Okay.
I was done with Disney by that point, unless Hocus Pocus was on or Under Wraps.
So you've never seen The Sweet Life of Zach and
It was
Cody?
after our time.
No,
Yeah,
let her answer
Oh.
it. You've never seen it?
I didn't. I have not.
I'm going to interrogate you.
I've never watched that show. I have watched a few seasons of Riverdale, did not finish it.
Okay.
And the trying to build a gap in case you're gonna cut it. The student teacher relationship was not this character. That was a different.
Yeah, it was like the ginger.
Yes.
Hmm.
Archie?
I think so. Because Cole was Jughead.
Yes, yeah.
What an
Archie, I don't
insane
know.
premise for
I
a
know.
TV show. I
It's
cannot
really
believe people
dumb.
watch that.
But also seeing him, him in Riverdale, I'm like, he makes sense in this movie a little
Okay.
bit. Because I don't know, that Riverdale's kind of weird. And
I've heard it gets way weirder as it goes, too.
Yeah. And then I was out. Not because it was weird, just because it was
Bad?
bad.
Yeah, I've heard that, too.
But yeah, I thought Cole Sprouse was fantastic in this. And I don't know. He was just a little murderer buddy in my heart by the end.
I
was
know.
Like, "Aw."
He had such sweet eyes
He
in
kept
this role.
crying.
Yeah,
That
he'd cry the
foul
stinkiest
smell.
tears.
Well, okay. I want to. So, two things. One, they probably should have cast, I don't know, like, are we not over yet the high schoolers who are all in their 30s? Because this man looks like he's in his 30s.
We don't know how old he is, though, right?
No, we don't know. But presumably he's like an adult.
Well, I pegged him as the character who's supposed to be like maybe early to
Yeah.
mid-20s.
Okay.
He looked older because he is, I think, but that's kind of what I assumed he was supposed to be.
And she's definitely in high school again. Catherine, what's her face? Who I
Catherine
do
Newton,
really
who's
like.
been in
yes.
high school for 10 years.
She also does not look like a high schooler.
No.
No. Well, I think
Um,
my when y'all suggested, or Brett, I think you suggested Lisa Frankenstein, whatever, whoever did it, and then I was like, is it better or worse than Freaky? Because
It's
I
worse.
always think about yeah, it's worse.
It's worse. I really like Freaky.
Freaky is
But I was
good.
like, well, how long ago did that come out? And she was in high school. She was
Like
a high school character then.
2020 or something.
Oh, well.
Wait, someone,
my head was
someone
10
check
years
it?
ago.
Someone check it?
No, okay.
I actually don't care. Okay.
I won't. I could easily, but I'm not going to.
Started moving my mouse like I was doing.
So back into stuff that Brett may actually keep. So Cole Sprouse. Sprout? Sprouse?
Yeah. Cole Bean Sprout is his name.
Okay, so the bean sprout. He
Pause. Freaky did come out in 2020. Back in it. Cole Bean
doesn't
Sprout.
matter, but bean sprout. Okay. So Cole Sprout is pretty good in this. I will say the reasons why I liked this movie is because it's a little insane.
Yeah.
So he shows up immediately, absolutely disgusting, covered in so much dirt and mud, and he is more rotting in the beginning. So like one of the sort of gimmicks of the Frankenstein arc of this is that the more he goes under the tanning bed, the more like human he kind of looks.
Yeah, it's like his cells are being regenerated by the tanning bed.
He has
Right.
better use of his limbs. You can see him like 3 or 4 shots in starting to drink a beverage.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he can't do any, like, even make, like, grunts or barely at the beginning, and by the
Mhm.
end he can talk.
Mm-hmm.
He's
Very,
like
very end.
reading poems to her.
Mhm.
And so I like that whole piece of it where as she's kind of losing her humanity, again, this could have been written better. As she's losing her humanity, he's gaining his. He's looking more and more like a cute little babe as it goes on.
And she
even
is
though-
getting bigger and bigger hair.
Yes.
And
Which I did
loved
like,
the
yeah.
hair.
Which is, I don't know, again, to me it kind of felt, maybe I'm being too nice, but it felt like an homage to sort of the Bride of Frankenstein.
Yeah,
Definitely.
for
Well,
sure.
And she had the Bride of Frankenstein hairdo in the dream sequence, which was one of my favorite parts of the movie. I did love that. There was like a weird, as a reference to, I think I have it written down, the 1902 silent film, A Trip to the Moon.
Yes.
Which is very famous because it has the moon with the like rocket in its eye, that image that's like on her closet door.
It's thought to be like the first film.
Yeah, it's one of the very
A
first
movie.
And I'm most familiar with it because it's also what Smashing Pumpkins use for their music video for Tonight Tonight.
Oh.
That's sort of like a remake of A Trip to the Moon. Love that song, love that video. Love you, Smashing Pumpkins.
I really do want to take a moment to talk about how gross the zombie is, because I really respected that. Like, I could not believe how disgusting they made him. So it's like established from the beginning that he smells like a corpse.
And especially his tears.
His tears,
The stinkiest part of him.
which I love. I love that's it. Again, insane choice that he has like disgusting, like toxic waste corpse tears that she starts like gagging. I love a movie when it tries to tackle smell. Like the one thing you really just like can't show us, right?
Wow. The inventor of smell-o-vision is rolling in his grave right now.
Well,
Which was a real thing that they used to do.
He should have tried to do it with this. Well, what if they did? What is it called? Is it like D-Box? Or
Yeah, or
Yep.
like 4DX or yeah.
One of those where they like put you in the movie and you're in like one of those like moving chairs and it just like sprays like skunk gas in your face anytime he's on screen.
Wow. As if this movie wasn't already unpleasant for me to watch, that would really just be the cherry on top.
Make you actually like have to grapple with the stank.
Yes.
Um
Grapple with the stank.
What did she call it once? She was like, it's like a toilet in a...
she does a lot of those sort of like
Diablo Cody
yeah, those sort
dialogue.
of like cutesy sort of
toilet in a... I don't know.
ad-lib, fill it in.
Yeah. Toilet in a...
Oh.
I was going to say a moat.
Oh.
But they would dump shit into moats from castles, so I guess it
So,
kind of makes
yeah,
sense.
Yeah.
Moats probably smelled terrible.
They did.
But yeah, so he's got like the one scene where I actually fast forwarded through because I cannot abide
I skipped it.
is when he horks a worm into the stepmom's like porridge or whatever.
Yeah.
I as he was like stumbling towards it and started like horking something up, I was like, nope, I can't.
I closed my eyes, covered my ears, and then I had to open them because I said, redacted to my husband, you need to wave when this is done because I will not be looking at the TV and I will be not listening to this. And then he waved. It was not done.
He got
I
you.
saw a tail end of something and I was
Yeah, there was
fuming.
a worm.
Well, I only knew it was a worm because she said it later. And I was like, oh, that's what that was. Because I thought it was like Dead Alive.
Oh.
Where
It's
it
just
was
like
like snot and...
That's what I
nasty
was
snot and
assuming.
rot.
slime.
Yeah.
And he had been producing a lot of snot slime rot at various moments. So
Yeah.
it's like,
So yeah. Red
Yeah.
card for my husband. Redacted. You've been warned.
You're on
You're
warning.
out.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, that didn't bother me at all.
well, you're gross.
Yeah,
You like that gross shit.
I do. I personally don't think I'm particularly
no,
gross.
you're not. You're not gross.
No, you yourself.
You're
you are not
gross only in your brain.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. But you're not
Well
you're,
said.
you're
It's
not a
part of-
stink rot
It's part of
person.
why we love you.
Yeah, you heard it here, guys. I'm not a stink rot person.
Yet.
But I will say that when in this movie she has sex with this creature where it is never established at any point that he gets less gross, right? Like I'm assuming he is jizzing slime and rot
Oh.
juice and smells horrid. They never make it clear that that ever stops happening. Like I think he is gross the entire way through.
Well, because he
So-
gets
She would-
like better and better on the outside, but the tears
He's
remain just as
right.
stinky. So I think you might be right. I would just like to say that, like our ad with balloons and condoms, hopefully he wrapped it up.
Yeah.
He wrapped it before he tapped it.
I doubt it.
Well, I did take
Oh yeah, because she had a contraceptive sponge.
Oh yeah.
But, right?
Oh
I did-
yeah.
Yeah, she says that. She's like, she's
really
like,
big
I have
or
a contraceptive
something."
sponge, and it is enormous.
There were some really funny moments.
Yeah.
Or like when he's like playing around with her like Hitachi wand and her douche. It's like,
Yes.
there's some very like, hey, it's the 80s moments that I did think I was like, okay, you're right. We don't do that anymore.
Yeah. I did like the thing with her wand. It's
Yes.
like, it's for back rubs.
My
And they're in bed,
aunt
and she's
gave
like,
it to
maybe
me.
it's also for something else.
But that's something I noted when he was drinking a beverage, and I was like, I wonder if his tears are better. I wonder if he's digesting.
Mm.
And that's why I let myself stop. And now I'm horrified because I didn't get to the climax part. I didn't think about that.
Well, I did. I was like,
Well, you know what? He had a fresh peen and balls.
I don't know if that matters.
You know what?
It might actually.
It might. Because it's not.
Because the sperm is produced by the balls, so it's not his body that's producing the sperm. Kind of.
But is pee stored in the balls?
Yes, as we all know, pee is also stored in the balls.
Okay. I don't want any of what I was about to say to be recorded.
If Maxine stepped on the balls, would it produce green sludgy slime
Yes, in pee.
and pee?
hmm
And that is just science.
That's just science. That's just STEM.
And we do love a woman in STEM.
It's a movie that's lesser than the sum of its parts. There's so many individual elements that I enjoy, but all of it together, the experience of watching the movie for me, because even at its like pace, y'all, this drags for me.
Did
I
it
was like,
really?
Oh my god!
Oh,
I was
I-
like, this movie's 5 hours long.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's the opposite of everything I was saying. So
Yeah.
maybe that's why we agree on basically everything about this movie, except one of us didn't like it and one of us did.
Yeah, that's
Is
true.
like for me, the pacing was totally too fast, and I guess for you, it was too sluggish.
Kind of. I think it's more that like it all feels like the same thing because the moments don't really land and there's not much variety between scenes. I felt.
There's also no like build up.
Yeah,
There's
I
just,
think that's
like-
what it is.
There's like a moment where she just becomes a psychotic killer.
Yeah, but we don't
And
even
this-
see her like snap. It's not even like portrayed as that. She just all of a sudden starts acting differently for no reason.
Well, if this had been a thing where she's actually a serial killer and this is who she was all along, that would have made a lot of sense. I did love, sorry, my notes started just becoming, I like a floral couch. I like a floral curtain. Maybe I was born in the wrong decade. And clearly my taste is not great, but I love a floral. And I did appreciate that about this movie. That did bring me a lot of joy.
Well, good.
I don't think florals are out.
Maybe a floral couch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
that
if,
might
like,
be.
It depends on the situation.
I think it's also just like about restraint.
But yeah, there was some fun set decoration and stuff like that in the house. I don't know. It just like didn't take it quite far enough into like stylized
Oh yeah.
for me.
I mean, that's because I think about, again, I kept thinking about like Heathers, where that's just such like a visually striking, sort of like fun movie.
Yes.
And everything's sort of like done up so far in that it just works.
hmm
And then this, I think if everyone was doing like Carla Gugino in this, it maybe would have been absolutely bonkers to watch. But
Yes.
it would have been maybe a bit more fun.
hmm
But
Oh.
It's pretty incredible.
Yeah,
I love the. I'm disgusting. I loved her little ear reminder. Whenever I'd see that ear on him, I was like, oh.
Oh, I know this little earring, and I was like, Carla, she's still with us.
yeah, I
Even
was
if
sad
only an
that
ear.
she got killed off so early.
Right.
Me
Because I was
too.
like, oh man, she's like doing the most in
And
a good
she
way.
could have been a better sort of like larger antagonist if they
For
kept her for
sure.
the end.
Like I get why she needed to be the catalyst for the killing because she was the most like aggressively anti-Lisa character, but it still could have worked if she had gone again, if the party had happened later in the movie and the sexual assault had happened, that could have been a good like kill him type moment.
Yeah, he could have been a good first kill in that version of the screenplay
Yeah.
that doesn't exist, but yeah.
In all these different like parallel universe versions that we're imagining that are all better than this movie. Because yes, you know what this movie is? It's a Frankenstein of different parts stuck
Oh.
together, but baby, it don't live.
It needs to get in the tanning bed.
It needs to go back in the tanning bed
It
because
really
it's
does.
not working.
It's undercooked.
But yeah, something else I was thinking about is there's a clever exposition device in this that they don't properly utilize, which is that he can't talk early on, so she just talks to him. And she's like, I haven't talked this much to anybody since my mom died. And again, that would have been a great moment for them to do something more interesting with it, where she's like, I just want, like if they're going in the direction of the stepsister, like, I just want her to respect me. If they're going in the direction of making yourself someone different for a man, she could go in that, I just want to be someone he likes. Like if she just starts slowly turning into the goth girl, because maybe she thinks they're together, because then that makes kind of more sense with how she starts dressing. Or if it's like Sam in your version of this, which I think would have been really fun, where she's like, yeah, and that's why I killed my mom. Right? Like there could have been...
Yeah.
Right?
No, I'm with you.
Like there...
Just hearing that out loud was really funny.
Well, it would have been funny in that if it just like dropped in, like, or he's just like, brrr, like, there's like a Scooby-Doo sort of like, because maybe like he didn't know, and then that gives him the green light to be like a killer with her.
At least 2 times in the movie. So she said herself, like, I've never talked this much. And somebody else was like, oh, I've never heard her speak this much. And both times I went, why?
Well, she's also been endlessly yapping that when we've seen her.
That's true. We don't get that sense, because also in that first scene, she is talking normally to her stepsister.
Yeah.
So we don't even establish her as this super quiet, I mean, her stepsister's leading the conversation, but it's not like Lisa's giving just like one-word answers and not
Well, and when she
talking.
talks to her crush, she talks to him.
And she's awkward, but she says words.
But she's doing the other way of awkward. She's like yammering and being like talking too quickly instead of doing like, again, ginger snaps. The younger sister is serving quiet weird girl energy. Like she doesn't talk. She just sort of like stares
at the ground.
She stares at the ground. She stares from a corner.
With her hair in her face, yeah.
Right. And Lisa's never doing that in this. So it's like, again, you kind of need to like pick what you're doing here.
Yeah.
Zelda.
Yes.
Figure it out.
Get your shit together, Zelda.
Yeah.
This
Dumb
movie
bitch.
Yeah, you dumb bitch. I'm going to throw a balloon of milk at you.
No.
Okay, I won't.
This movie made me want to watch a lot of movies.
Yeah.
I think that's my biggest takeaway. I liked I like that you said this was a Frankenstein of movies, because I think that's right. You get so many different pieces of different movies that you're like, oh, I want to watch that movie now. Oh, I want to watch this one, but not the same movie again.
Yeah, when I call it a Frankenstein movie, there's parentheses next to it that says derogatory. But again, like, unlike Brett, like, I would lightly recommend this, just to, wrap this up.
Sure.
Because in the end, so here's the ending, y'all. He kills the crush by cutting off his wiener.
Yeah, while he's in bed with the stepsister.
With the stepsister.
And balls. You see the
whole thing. Because it needs to be functioning.
Yep.
I guess. And then he saves it because he doesn't have a wiener. And she's like, why didn't you tell me? It's like, what? He looks at her like, are you kidding?
Yeah.
Which I did like. And she sews on his ween. The police are coming for them because, again, as you said, Sam, he's not covering any of his tracks. Or she's not covering. Neither of them are.
No.
They're just openly murdering people, not being secretive at all.
throw a cop in a grave. That's
that was kind of funny.
Not an instruction. That's just what happened.
You can, though. We're not saying don't throw a cop in a grave.
That's not anything I've ever done.
Yet.
I thought that was a pretty funny scene.
It was funny.
It's like little cop just comes up and he just picks her up and tosses her into the...
out.
She's fine.
But yeah, so they finally have sex because she's sewn on the penis, but then the cops
And she says
come.
that she doesn't want to die a virgin, which kind of comes out of nowhere. She's like,
Yeah, she's like, I've never done it. Have you done it? He's like, I've done it
once. With, I guess, the woman we saw from the opening credits. So they have sex, and then she's like, well, there's only one way out of this. And I'm like, what?
Do tell, Lisa.
Well, it's the 80s, okay? In the 80s, you could literally just drive to another town in another state and go to, like, I don't know, some like social security office and say and give them any name of any person.
I'm Friesa Lankenstein.
You could literally say that. You could say, yeah,
Lisa Hollows instead of Lisa Swallows.
Oh yeah, I forgot her name was Lisa Swallows.
It's kind of a funny name.
Yes.
But it's like you could look up any name of any person and just say that's who you are, and they will give you a new birth certificate. And then you don't need, there's no credit scores yet. There's nothing like that. You could just be a new person. So I was like, just do that. But instead she's like, no, the smart thing to do is for me to just die in
Which
this.
she does by going into the tanning bed, setting it to extra crispy or whatever it was.
Max something.
Make sure you set it on max bronze. That was it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, I will.
And then it just burns everything down. And then
Yeah.
somehow she's fine. She's a zombie too. And they have a little...
She's wrapped in bandages.
She's wrapped in
'cause
bandages.
She's burned all over, I guess.
Implying that she'll somehow get better.
I think she did die. Because
Yeah, she's dead.
Okay, so she did die, and then I guess I don't know. I don't
He's
know if he
now
found another
nursing
tanning bed, but
her back to health.
yes.
Yes.
And he
I
can
think,
talk and sing? Or
yeah, that
something?
was the, I think, implication was that somehow he was able to revive her. Maybe she got struck by lightning somehow, which is how he came back. And she's covered in bandages, but it's maybe implying that, like, she could be regenerated. She may not always be in those bandages.
Yeah.
It's kind of cute. I will
Yeah.
say there was a weird scene that I don't think it needed to be there where it's
I
like,
know.
are you talking about the sister and the dad at the gravesite?
Yes, and it's fucked up, but I also liked it because, well, I liked it for the sister in that she still had somebody, the stepsister. Taffy still had the dad, and Taffy and her stepdad had a seemingly good relationship.
Yeah, the stepdad
yeah.
seemed to like her a lot more than he
Yeah.
liked his daughter.
Oh, 100%.
Well, Taffy knows that her stepdad's daughter murdered her mom,
Oh, yeah.
but it was a little sweet for me to be like, well, I'm happy Taffy has someone, because
Yeah.
man. But yeah, it was weird.
I mean, the last we had seen of her was that she was like traumatized and running off.
But I don't think she needed to be at Lisa's grave.
But I think, again, an easy fix for that is you go to Carlo Gugino's grave. You're visiting mom, and then
Yeah.
it shows us, it pans over
Yeah.
to or maybe she says, oh, I'm just going to visit my sister. And
Like they bring Carla Gugino a bouquet and they take one flower out and
Something
Taffy
like
puts it
that.
on her grave or something.
yeah, again, sort of like Carrie, where you
Mhm.
have sort of this like last moment of like
it could have ended
kindness.
just like Carrie,
'Cause
honestly.
just have
That
her
would be
like,
great.
oh, that'd been pretty good.
Lisa's not redeemed in death here. So it's like, why are you...
The language of the movie itself is never condemning Lisa,
Exactly.
which is
Yeah.
bizarre.
And she still got away with it and got what she wanted. Like, she's...
Oh, yeah. She faces no consequences
No.
for her selfish actions throughout this entire movie. She never has to reckon with anything she does. It never matters that her mom was murdered and she became a murderer. Like,
Right.
this movie has nothing to say. In ways that, again, I find kind of compelling.
Sure.
I will not... So let's go into... We'll start with Is It Loathe?
Ooh.
What do you loathe,
what did
Sam?
I loathed specifically the scene I could not watch.
The worm in the porridge or whatever?
The worm out of his mouth, puking up into the porridge. Or whatever. What was she eating?
Oatmeal?
Yeah.
She said it was like my diet meal or something.
Her slop.
Yeah. So that's what I loathe. What about you, Brett? What didn't you loathe?
I didn't loathe some of the performances and
Yeah.
some of the aesthetics and the screenplay, but I loathed just about everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I almost hate this movie.
Yeah.
Not quite, but almost.
We didn't change your mind in
No.
this scathing like hour of hate. I loathe the follow through. Like I think again, like Brett and Sam, I think there's a lot that almost works. But at any point, someone in charge should have said, "Hey, let's go do some reshoots."
Mm.
And maybe they did and it went wrong. Like I didn't look up any behind the scenes about this. I'm never going to. I don't care that much about this movie.
Just enough to speculate right now.
I will say I will probably never watch this movie again. If I want to watch something like this, I will watch any number of better movies that do this but well. But I think it's maybe worth watching once.
Mhm.
Or turn it on and you'll know pretty quickly just know going into it, no, there's no payoff. It's not leading anywhere interesting.
Yeah.
But if you just want to vibe
Yeah.
for, what is this, like 90 minutes, 100?
It's like 100 minutes, I think.
Yeah, if you want to vibe for
sure.
100 minutes in sort of like a fun, bopping 80s atmosphere.
How many minutes in Brett Loath time was it?
365 years.
Years. Yeah, I was like, not
days,
yeah.
not minutes, no, years.
An eternity of misery for
Eternity.
Brett.
Yeah.
But 100 minutes of fun for me,
Great.
personally. So I didn't load this movie, but I get why you do, because
Yeah.
it's almost insulting. Like, again, like the hubris of this film, like her first film being this.
No, Zelda Williams spit a worm into my porridge
Yeah.
with this movie.
Like, I think she spit a worm into all of our porridge, and some people are like, that's fine. I like
Like,
that
I'll eat
worm.
around it.
Yeah, I'll eat around it.
But is it gay?
I think it wants to be iconic for the gays, but there's nothing.
It was not for this gay.
Yeah, but again, I think that they wanted to make a like sassy, like Instagram twink, like you go girl, sort of like white vision of what like a fun gay movie would be. Am I being too mean?
No, I think that's fair to say.
If that was the
I also think that's fair.
because I think
As
there's
a straight.
like yeah, like I think they wanted it to just be like, yeah, she's serving.
She's no Ginger.
Exactly. I'm like, Ginger and Jennifer actually served.
And that's what this I felt like to me it was trying to do.
Definitely.
And again, it just does. There's no like queer characters in this. I think that would have
No,
made it more
yeah.
fun if the stepsister was maybe into Lisa. Again, another way you could have made this movie interesting. So for me, I'm gonna say it is one worm in an entire house filled of porridge. Gay. Sorry, diet slop.
Oh yeah, it was diet
Whatever
slop.
it is.
I don't know.
Not gay.
Not gay.
Just not gay.
I just don't.
It's so depressing. You don't have any.
I really don't.
Yeah.
I was thinking about all the things in the movie, and I was like, none of these even deserve a mention.
There's one moment where he's wearing like an old timey like Hollywood nightgown. He doesn't like it, but she does.
And I also
I
did,
did
actually.
really like that.
And
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
like a moment of like refreshing.
Yeah, maybe
clarity
one
there.
nightgown and an entire closet of diet slop
Ew.
and worms.
Perfect.
Gay.
Sam?
On the tanning bed dial, it's not turned at all. It's completely at 0.
Yeah, it's
However
as far
tanning beds work, I would not know.
It's as far from max bronze as you can
Correct.
go. Okay.
Maybe it's unplugged.
So there you go. Watch it. Don't. It's not going to
It'll
have
be
any
fun.
impact on your life.
Yeah, it doesn't matter at all.
The best thing this can do is make you go watch a better movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
And there are many.
There are.
So, Sam, where can people find us?
Oh, yeah. Okay. We are on Instagram at Queer and Loathing Pod. And then we have a link tree that connects to our, what's it called?
Mhm.
Letterboxed.
Yes.
Letterboxed. I'm saying the things. And then you can email us if you want at queerandloathingpod@gmail.com.
That's right. And that's all we got for this week. So,
I'm queer.
I'm loathing.
You really are.
I'm really loathing.
And I'm Samantha.
Yay!
Yay!
Slay and yay.